Airports parehas sa Mactan International Airport handle nearly 22 million passengers a year, labi na tong 2019 nga wala pa'y COVID. That's almost 18 times the number of people nga nagpuyo sa Cebu City itself. Sa pag-move aning mga tawhana sa ilang ultimate destinations requires 25 different airlines, which collectively make up the airport's 198 daily arrivals and departures. So daghan kayog eroplano, daghan kayog pasahero, o daghan pud kayog airport personnel to make sure ang tanan runs smoothly. So giyon sa man nila paghimog possible na ay about 150 plus nga airplanes in the sky every hour diri sa Pilipinas nga naglupad. This translates to approximately 3,600 plus aircraft operating in the sky each day. Kung ang eroplano makes its way through the skies, so ang air traffic controllers sa ilang respective nga area and division magmonitor sa kani nga flight. At the moment nga ang aircraft enters a definite zone, ang air traffic controller officer passes this information off to the new division to take control. Ang trabaho aning air traffic controller is not just to coordinate the movements of thousands of aircraft, keep them at safe distance from each other, direct them during takeoff and landing from airports, direct them around bad weather, and ensure the traffic flows smoothly with minimal delays. Ang ilang trabaho pod extends to helping planes fly at the correct altitude. For example, ang altimeter on board sa aeroplano is basically just a pressure gauge. And kani nga technology is pretty much the same as the ones airplanes back in katong mga 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s nga mga aeroplano. So the first thing nga kinahanglan nimo masabtan is that when it comes to altimeters, ang reason nga ang pressure gigamit para ma-measure ang altitude is because ang atmosphere has a nice feature of having a linear decrease of pressure as you climb. So basically, kung ang eroplano mo take off every 30 feet, it climbs, ang pressure pod is going to drop with approximately 1 hectopascals. Kung ang eroplano is mo climb siya og 60 feet, so ang pressure mo drop pod siya og 2 hectopascals. So relying on pressure reading alone to calculate altitude can be dangerous since ang atmosphere is not completely uniform all over sa atong kalibutan. Kaya naaman po yung mga areas of high mountains and deep valleys. So kani nga mga area kay na ay different pressure reading that can trick sa kaning altimeter nato. So to think the aircraft is higher above the ground than it truly is because altimeter are essentially a pressure gauge. So it also means that it does not really know kung asa ta mag-start with. So the only thing is it knows is the pressure is decreasing or increasing, and gigamit ni na reading to calculate the altitude. So pilots gagamit og something called nga QNH. So kaning QNH at the airport of departure, so since ang atmospheric pressure change over time and from place to place, so you might have high pressure at your airport of departure and low pressure on the airport kung asa inyong destinations. So pilots have to listen to the air traffic control for the local height above sea level or kaning QNH value. Every time nga ang aircraft gets cleared to an altitude, so they will be getting the local QNH value from the air traffic controller. So let's say nga ang QNH or height above sea level is 1,000 hectopascals. What pilots do is to give the value to the altimeter. Then ang system kay gamiton ang local atmospheric nga pressure as a reference para ma-calculate ang correct nga altitude of the aircraft above sea level. Kaning QNH or height above sa sea level basically gives us the pressure setting to know how high we are above the sea level with reference kung asa nga airport moagto. Karon, why is this interesting to know is because ang QNH values are different between sa lahi nga airports. So pilots must ask the air traffic controller for the correct pressure setting at the airport kung asa sila gagikan. For example, kani diri sa Mactan International Airport with a QNH of 29.80 as per Google, gi-search lang nako sa Google. And then maghuwat ka og few hours dayon ang pressure drops by 5 hectopascals. The altimeters kay mo assume that the airplane climbed into 89.4 feet higher, while ang eroplano is actually on the ground because the QNH dropped by 5 hectopascals. Mao ni ang mga piloto or continuously i-update ang ilang pressure setting when either departing from an airport or descending kung asa sila nga airport. As you might have understood by now, that since the pressure value differs between different airport, ang daghan pod mga eroplano taking off from these different airports flying to their various destinations. So for example, let's say ni take off ka diri sa Mactan International Airport, then you are flying towards Manila. So you are going to meet other aircraft that are flying from other airports where ang kaning ilang pressure nila kay different. So pilots won't know their vertical separation with this other aircraft. Kay ni took off man sila sa different nga airport with a completely lahi ang ilang QNH. Or unsa gitong QNH? Ang QNH is ang height above sea level. Lahi man ang ilahang QNH value and altitude reading, so this can easily lead to a mid-air collision. So the way na kani ma-solve is that by making use of a standard nga pressure value at transition altitude, which is QNH nga 1013.25 hectopascals. So ang tanang eroplano flying above the transition altitude kay ila set sa same pressure because sa in the air ang eroplano molupad og taas that how high they are above the ground kay dili mo na mo matter, only the vertical separation with other aircraft matters. So whenever makadungog ka og aircraft that is been cleared to a flight level, it means they now using the standard QNH nga value. At a busy nga airport like kani diri sa Mactan International Airport na ay 198 flights take off and land taga-adlaw. That means nga taga-adlaw, perhaps as many as 40,000 people move through the airport and nanginahanglan og certain nga services. Airports provide those services and their concourses and terminals, the heart of any airport. Dire ninyo makita niya airlines, spaces to handle tickets, sales, passenger check-in baggage handling, and claims. Bisag unsa pa kanang boarding gate nya magboard og mga pasahero. Kung makahuna-huna ka sa airport o sa grabe kadaghan sa tao nga giservice or giserva nila, so ara nimo ma-imagine that providing these logistic services can be a daunting challenge or difficult to deal within. So consider baggage handling as example. Ang first step ani is which occurs as a part of the check-in process. Diri mag-generate og barcode that includes imong information about sa imong flight. Apil ang layovers kung naaman ang final destination pud. And ang airline attendant attaches this code sa imong bag and then places it on a check-in conveyor which carries it away. A machine on the other side of the desk armed with an array of scanners capable of seeing the barcode regardless sa kung unsa iyahang angle sa katong bagahe. So basahon ang code data and then routes the bag accordingly. Based sa kaning instructions, imuhang bag follows a continuous chain of conveyors which both move it along rapidly and change its orientation as necessary. Additional scanners along the way check and i-double check ang barcode para ma-assure na imuhang bag continues to follow the right path. Eventually, imuhang bag pod reaches human handlers kung kinsa mo load agto sa trolley and drive it to the plane where it is loaded into the hold. At the same time, ang kaning mga airline must keep track of the people flying sa ilang eroplano. During sa check-in process, na agent muskan sa imong e-ticket or manually i-input ang passenger data. So, i-note kung naa by upgrades or kung naa by first class baka or example, kanang basig na kay special needs. For international flights, agents must also enter a passenger passport's information. Tanang data plus a code for the final destination appears on a boarding pass, which is printed out and given to the passenger. At the boarding gate, during sa pagboard, the passenger hands the boarding pass to another airline agent. Kung kinsa mo scan sa barcode and confirms na kani nga person kay naa siya sa flight manifest. Kung ang tanang pasahero have boarded the aircraft, ang load controller pod nga agent is mo print out sa copy of the manifest para ang members sa flight crew ilang ma-check that all passengers successfully boarded. Then once ang tanang pasahero have been accounted for, so the airline issues a final manifest which is magamit para ma-notify ang relatives in the unlikely nga event of an air disaster. So in terms sa security pod, so private companies ga provide og airport screening services. Kaning mga companies worked under the guidance of the Civil Aviation Administration of the Philippines or kaning CAAP. And although ilahang representatives scanned passengers using metal detectors and x-ray bags, so limited ra pud ang federal security requirements existed for cargo and sa baggage nga screening. So some incidents man good have been the result of travelers nga nagdala og either weapons or items nga ila magamit as weapons on board aircraft para lang ilang ma-hijack ang eroplano. So ang Philippine government established the Transportation Security Administration to improve and strengthen aviation security. By November 2001, ang Transportation Security Administration rolled out a number of bagong security measures. Armed air marshals, reinforced cockpit doors, and no-fly list identifying people nga makapose og threat and designating them for enhanced screening or as appropriate prohibiting them from boarding sa eroplano. Sa pagkakaron, ang Transportation Security Administration screens 100% of checked baggage for explosives using combinations of software, conveyance system o screening technologies to conduct full inline screening without interrupting or delaying ang kaning movement sa luggage from the ticket counter to the aircraft. Airports have also increased their on-site police forces. Diri sa Mactan International Airport, for example, ang mga police crew nagkadaghan na from 80 sworn officers kay naam na may Terminal 2. This makes the airport force almost as large as others performing their duties. Airports complement their police forces with separate crews to handle fire and emergency medical services. Ang Mactan International Airport kay naay fire stations on the ground kay ang CAAP requires that emergency crews dali ra makaresponde sa midpoint of the runway within 3 to 5 minutes or kung asa na ay incidents or kananay sunog. Then the crews are usually employees sa city or municipality and are stationed at the airport. At their disposal are specially designed and equipped fire and rescue vehicles capable of extinguishing jet fuel fires with thousands of gallons of foam. Kaning 44 ton nga 6-wheel vehicles can accelerate from 0 to 50 miles per hour in less than 35 seconds and come equipped with a variety of turrets, nozzles, and booms to attack a fire efficiently and protect escaping passengers. Finally, ang airports are huge businesses. How big? Well, kaning Mactan International Airport or ang Terminal 2 lang kay nag-cost lang ni siya og 17.5 billion as per Google. To build and operating costs are 430 million pesos per year. But its economic impact diri sa Cebu is huge. According to the Cebu Department of Transportation, ang Mactan International Airport generates 19.3 billion pesos diri lang sa Cebu every year. Pero kato pa ning pagkakuan 2019. So commercial airports are publicly owned and generally financed through municipal bonds. Airports typically own tanan nilang facilities and make money by leasing them to airlines, air freight companies, and retail shops and services, as well as kaning by charging for services like kaning fuel and parking and through fees and taxes on airline tickets. The revenues pay off ang utang sa municipal and i-cover ang operating costs. Airports often require other sources of funding as well as kaning such as kaning sa airport bonds and government nga grants. Pero kadaghan ng airports are self-sustaining businesses once they become operational. Then about 90% of employees sa airport work for private companies such as airlines, contractors, and concessions. O ang remaining 10% work directly sa airport as administrators, terminal and grounds nga mga maintenance personnel, and kani po mga safety crews. Air traffic controllers are employees sa Civil Aviation Administration of the Philippines. Airports kay naapoy own departments of finance, personnel, administration, and public relations. Much likely kani sa any city or municipality. Whether or not you find heaven or hell in the complex world of a commercial airport largely depends on your personality and sa circumstances of your travel. Airports will continue to be all important nodes in the international transportation system at least until someone perfects teleportation.